around the world. It's Learn Ubuntu Live, presented by LearnUbuntu.org, with your host, Tom Judge.
Okay, this presentation is for students that are just starting with the Internet Fundamentals course. Here we're going to show you how to prepare your workstation so you're ready to take the course. So let's begin with the presentation. As part of this course, we're going to learn the history of the Internet, how browsers and web servers work, the domain name system, an introduction to TCP/IP networking, and this is just a brief introduction because it is only a beginner's course, email and instant messaging, who can survive without that, and using FTP to transfer your files to a web server. That's the first part of the course. But as they say, that's not all you get. The second part of the course, we're going to revisit understanding directory structures. Now, we covered this in the Learn Ubuntu Basics course, but it's so important for developing a website that we want to revisit it here. Then we're going to start with the beginning HTML, which will include creating hyperlinks, an introduction to web graphics, images, and color, including how to make an image map, creating and working with HTML forms. Forms are a vital part of almost any website. Understanding legacy frames. Not that many people are using frames anymore. Most people tend to use the div now or the iframe, but you may come across these, so you have to cover it. And at the end, a basic introduction to cascading style sheets. At the end of this course, you will create a project which will count as part of your final grade. Now, in order to do this course, there's 3 lab exercises in the first chapter that will help you prepare your workstation to take this course. And the topics that we cover in those 3 lab exercises are installing the Apache 2 web server, and yes, you can install that right on your workstation, and you can even test it and run without having an internet connection because it'll work at the magic local host number. We're going to install the Emacs text editor because that is a long-time standard of text editors for programmers, and we want you to get some experience with it. And then finally, we're going to set up a public HTML folder in your home folder and configure the Apache 2 web server to access your course files and your work there. Now, in the first exercise, we're going to install the Emacs editor. Again, this is a long-time favorite for Linux programmers. Now, you can, if you want to, use the gedit editor because it is only plain text, but there's some pretty cool things we do with the Emacs editor as part of this course. We interface it with the Firefox browser so they interact with each other, and that's pretty helpful. Believe me, sometimes just a little thing that saves time can make you much more productive. To install the Emacs GTK editor, we can use the Ubuntu Software Center. And when you go to install it, you're going to have to provide your password because installing software is an administrative task. Following the installation, it will appear either in your GNOME menu, if you're still running the GNOME desktop, or if you're using the new Ubuntu 12.04 or newer desktop, then you can find it in the dash home by just starting to type in EMAC, and it should appear there. When it opens, the Emacs editor shows a splash screen. And it's a good idea to take a look at those links. There's some very helpful links that will teach you a lot more about what the Emacs editor can do. This is a very powerful editor for a simple text editor. In the second lab exercise, we're going to install the Apache 2 web server. In this exercise, though, we're going to use some command line because we need to keep developing those skills. So we use the command line to install the Apache web server with the sudo apt-get install command. And we show you some of the details of that in this slide. Now, when it finishes, you may get a little error message as it starts the web server saying it couldn't resolve the host name, and it's using the 127.0.0.1. That's perfectly fine for this course. That's all we need. It'll work just wonderfully for you that way, so don't worry about that little warning message. Once we've installed it and it's started, if we open our web browser and type http://localhost, then we should see a page as shown in this slide, showing that the web server is working. We also have to know how to start and stop the web server, and we show you that in the lab as well. Beginning with lab exercise 3, we teach you those skills. Here we see the command to stop the Apache server is /etc/init.d/apache2 The start command is the same, except we put start on the end instead of stop. With the Apache web server stopped, if you type http localhost, you will see this, unable to connect because the web server is not running. Once we restart the server, we should see that it is working and we get that little Apache test basic web page. Now, the next thing we do is we go to our home folder and we create a public HTML file. Under that folder, throughout the course, we're going to be adding directory structure and putting our course files. That's what we'll use to learn. Then we're going to make a test page and put it in that public HTML file. Now, I know this is kind of like the chicken or the egg again, what comes first, but don't worry about it. You can just copy and paste the text from our sample file into your editor and save it. And initially we save it as index.html, and I believe we changed the name later on in the course. And here, as you can see, the little text box we provide, you just drag your mouse over, highlight that text, copy and paste it into your editor like we show here, and you'll be ready to go. Now, we have to tell Apache that it's going to be using that public HTML folder. So that's what we're doing in these next few steps. We're going to open a terminal window and we're going to make a symbolic link. Now, we saw symbolic links also in the Learn Ubuntu Basics course, so this shouldn't be too much of a surprise for you. And we're going to make two links. Now, there's a folder, etc Apache2/mods enabled, and there's also a folder, etc/Apache2 mods available. And basically what we do in this lab is we make two symbolic links in the mods enabled to two files that are in the mods available folder. And we walk you through those details in the lab exercise itself. Once we've done all that, we make two links. There's a slide here showing each link. Then we restart the Apache web server, and now this time we're going to type http localhost /tilde and then your name, your login name. Apache will take that information and automatically look for a file in the public HTML to serve up as a web page. And in this example, that's exactly what we're seeing. If you've done these three exercises, then you should be ready to start the course and your workstation should be ready to work. Now keep in mind that we realize that not everybody has an internet connection all the time at their disposal. So maybe you have a laptop. You can go to some place where you can get your internet connection. And when you go to take the course, you can either view it in HTML or download the PDF. Now, if you download the PDF, you can save that on your local computer. Then when you're back home with your computer with no internet connection, you can use the PDF which shows you the course instructions, and the web server will work without an internet connection. It will work as local host, so you can do all lab exercises and do this all on your own, even without a full-time internet connection. So, we hope you like that. So we hope you've gotten something out of this presentation, and now you should be ready to start this course, providing you got your workstation all set up. And we're really happy to have you join us for this and other presentations that should be coming up soon. Keep in mind that we have a health chat room that's always open, and when you enter a message in that chat room, it goes right to my Android devices, so I'm not going to miss you. So we hope you join us for more exciting presentations and learn how to produce web pages and other skills using Linux Ubuntu. Remember, I can always be reached through the help chat room, so there's no reason for someone to go without the help they need to get this done.
Portions of this program were pre-recorded.